I noticed I noticed that Mexican people are not racist. Generally, in New York City, Mexican people are not racist. Okay, we've been having a lot of protests for ICE, the ICE protests, and legal immigrants and things like that. But majority of Mexican people that I've encountered have been good to me, have been nice to me. The ones in Manhattan. I can't speak for the rest of New York City because I haven't really lived in Queens or anything like that, or Brooklyn, Staten Island. I know it's different out there, and I know the communities are much more larger out there and much more homogenous, and they're more larger and tight knit. But for the ones in Manhattan that I encountered, which is mainly male Mexican, you know, Mexican men are generally nice to me. You know what I mean? They are not mean to me, and most of the ones that I encountered here in Manhattan are service workers, or they work in restaurants, or they work in some parts of the restaurant industry, or they work as delivery drivers, and they're generally, you know, on code. You know what I mean? They're generally, you know, on code. And I think I'm asking myself the question why. I seen one time I was listening to, there was this Mexican man walking around with the phone, and he was playing this. It sounded like he was listening to a black preacher speak it. I'm like, what? I had to turn my head. Like, he was listening to a black evangelist preacher, and I'm like, it sounds like that type of voice. And I'm like, that was very interesting. He was talking about the black man, or the black situation in America. I'm like, that's very interesting that a Mexican guy will be listening to something like that, or somebody who looked like they're Mexican was listening to a speech like that, or a sermon or whatnot like that. So that got me to thinking. You know what I mean? I know they in California they have their beefs between blacks and Mexicans. But I'm not talking about California. I'm talking about New York City. Is it like that in New York? New York? And there's a whole question of immigration, especially in places that are sanctuary cities like New York City. And I think, yeah, the majority of them are here because they want to have a better life for themselves. You know what I mean? They have to go through a different go through the immigration process, but they just want a better life. They want to stack money. That's what it's about. They know New York City is a place that they can come to stack money. You know what I mean? And they don't got to be out there working in the fields and doing all this extracurricular stuff that they had to do back in their own countries. The agriculture or whatever they were doing. You know what I mean? Which is a lot of the jobs that people do in Mexico. A lot, the jobs that they have, how it used to be with people down south with sharecropping and things. They don't want to do those type of jobs, so they come to New York City so they can get jobs where they can stack money easily and they can do deliveries. And that's just what it's about, you know. And I'm asking the question like, if I'm thinking about the question, okay, what do Mexicans think about America? And I think they think it's the land of opportunity. You know what I mean? It's a place where social mobility is possible. You know what I mean? I made another video about this. I don't think I ever uploaded, but I was trying to explain more of my thoughts regarding this situation. Um, but you know what I mean? I think the ones here, their general perception of black people is good, or you know what I mean. They're not racist. You know what I mean. The ones in Manhattan I've encountered because they got internet, so I mean I'm pretty sure back in their own countries that they probably seen the movies, those or seen the Django and those 12 Years a Slave and those type of movies. Okay, not to be a cliche, and then they probably seen or learned about America through that. So maybe part of it is like a feeling of sympathy, which I hope not. You know what I mean? Because we're fine now. You know what I mean? That was the past, the stuff that happened in the past. But maybe they see stuff like that, and I don't know. But I don't know. These are just my thoughts about New York City. and Mexican people.